All right, Nationals MPs are urging the state government to reconsider including regional Victoria in tougher lockdown measures, saying the one-size-fits-all approach is unfair, especially for regions with no active COVID cases. Federal MP for Mallee, Dr Anne Webster, has today written to Premier Daniel Andrews requesting him to reconsider his decision. She joins me now. Anne Webster, thanks for joining us. You're saying that the one-size-fits-all model just doesn't work when it comes to the bush.
No, it doesn't. Thank you, Gleeson, for having me on. Yeah, look, I think that we need long-term strategic policy that takes into account that we may be living with COVID for some time to come, and knee-jerk policy does not work. The one-size-fits-all policy over all of regional Victoria is certainly not the answer. What I've called for and asked Daniel Andrews to consider is a targeted approach where there are outbreaks, that they are isolated areas, such as Colac. You know, no one in the country resents having to close down for events like that. But when we have zero or no cases in our area, it's very, very difficult to justify. Mallee is a third of Victoria. Geographically, it's a third of Victoria. We have 16 live cases for months now. So there has been very, very little change. And what we're calling for is a reasonable and a measured approach that takes into account the incredible loss to our economy, to our industry. We are the food bowl of Victoria, and willy-nilly we're being shut down.
And people must be incredibly frustrated in your electorate.
Look, I'm hearing a lot of stories of people who are extremely frustrated. You know, that's coupled with the anxiety that is natural, that comes from the fear of COVID and what it might mean. But the reality is that our regional areas are really incredibly safe, and the country communities that I represent have done so well during this pandemic and ought to be praised and rewarded for that, rather than put into lockdown.
And I wrote a piece in yesterday's Murdoch tabloids where basically I said that I felt that Australia was divided at the moment. I felt that the bush and the regions were being punished, not only for doing the right thing, but for being locked in to this situation that the metropolitan areas are at the moment, where there is such stringent conditions. Are you getting a sense that, and it may not be on purpose, because, you know, you can understand why politicians are going down this zero tolerance approach, but in a de facto way, the regions are being punished?
Oh, look, I think that is certainly a view that is being felt across the electorate. I think of our cross-border position. You might remember, Gleeson, that we are tri-state here. We're right in the corner. The Mallee abuts both South Australia and New South Wales. So we have had and continue to have significant restrictions placed on our communities, our cross-border communities. I have a supermarket down in Marrible who contacted me today and said that South Australian delivery man will not deliver his milk because he's going to have a COVID test to go back over the border, 27 kilometres from the border. You know, there are ongoing issues that we face. I came on and spoke to you about the health issues that we have here. That has not been resolved. We still have hundreds and hundreds of people who cannot have their procedures, who cannot have their surgeries. And yet we are being treated with that broad brushstroke that might be convenient for Melbourne, but is certainly not fair nor reasonable in a place like Mallee.
And let's not forget the seasonal workers. We know farmers who are really struggling to get people to actually pick their produce, and invariably they rely on backpackers. Well, that's gone down the tube because there's no one here. And of course, Australians seem to be reticent. 8%. I can't get over that figure. 8% of the people who, you know, go onto farms to pick fruits and so forth are Australians. I mean, is there any? What's the latest there? Is there any breakthrough in those talks?
Well, the seasonal worker situation has largely been resolved. Certainly the Citrus Australia would report that seasonal workers can cross the border now to do that work, which is really excellent. I think that as we move forward, Australia is going to have to adjust to the changes in workforce, the changes in opportunity to earn money. And, you know, who knows, maybe this is the big cultural and social adjustment that we've been looking for, you know, post-World War II. I don't know, but I think that, you know, once again, we have opportunities here that we also need to grasp with both hands.
And of course, the Prime Minister just in the last few hours has announced measures around pandemic leave. I'm sure that will be welcomed not just in your electorate, but throughout Victoria.
Absolutely. Look, the federal government and the state government have put in place significant measures to support people. It doesn't take away the sense of uncertainty, the sense of loss that people are finding as they can't open their business again, which is, you know, why these stage 3 restrictions are so significant to us in the regional areas, because they're unjustified. And, you know, the supports that we are offering at both federal and state level are very, very important.
Dr. Anne Webster, always great to have you on Sky News Across Australia. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.